Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of the CD Sport Podcast with me, Kerry Davis. Joining us today, all the way from down under, one of the best MMA, boxing and Muay Thai coaches in Australia, Rich Fogarty. How are you, Rich?
G'day, mate. How are you? All right?
Appreciate you. Yeah, I'm very good. Thanks, mate. Really appreciate you coming on. I know you've been absolutely flat out with the new gym down in Melbourne.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, she's been going pretty hectic at the moment, just putting every bit of heart and soul into a new venture. So, no, it's been busy.
It looks absolutely packed out, like really good. You know what I mean? It's was it Brooklyn Boxing Club? Is that what you call it?
Yeah, Brooklyn Boxing Club, and but the main obviously business part is the Brooklyn Fitness Center.
Right.
So Brooklyn Boxing Club's at the back.
So it's got you because
we've got two. Like the Brooklyn Fitness Center is the main business, but we have just like the actual Brooklyn Boxing Club at the back where all the fighters and that'll train.
Makes sense because I seen your Instagram. You've got like two names, haven't you? At Brooklyn Boxing, and I've clicked on both. I'm like, I don't know the difference, but yeah, it makes sense now.
Yeah. Now one's like the boxing team, so to speak, and then the other one's more or less the fitness center with the weights and everything else.
Oh, brilliant! I was telling you before. Hopefully, when I can come back to Oz, I'd definitely come over and maybe do some pads or something or weights even.
Yeah, 100%. Come on down, brothers. Come on down.
No shape of me on the pads, though. I was going to say, all you got to do is go on your Instagram, Rich, and you've been around like the elite of elite fighters, haven't you?
I've had some good experiences, you know, like I've sort of, and it's not just been sort of me, it's been sort of certain people I've been friends with and I've got to know over the years. But I don't know, just one thing led to another, and you know, I just sort of got that opportunity to go and hang out and train and just be around those sort of athletes that are the highest level, you know.
Yeah. What's the Rich Fogarty story? And you've had over like 50 fights as well yourself, haven't you?
Yeah, I was more or less when growing up, it was more the Kyokushin karate, ring karate. Then I went into a couple of boxing fights, and then I had more. Then I started to like the kickboxing and Muay Thai. So that's when I sort of it was more or less, you know, 50 or so fights were just all amongst all different things. But it was over like a 12-year period, you know.
Yeah.
But I never really liked fighting because obviously just through my childhood with what I had to deal with, I was just sort of fighting was really something I was always scared of. But when I started to train it and do the discipline, then I found that obviously I was good at it, but I just had that drive to win sort of thing, you know.
Were you like a kid starting, Rich, or a bit older in life?
No, I think I was like around 19 when I first kicked it off.
Yeah.
So I didn't really go much on the fighting due to, you know, some circumstances when I was younger with abuse and just being bullied at school, and I just really hated the confrontation.
Yeah.
And even to this day, like if I see a fight out on the street, I just sort of gets me like anxiety sort of thing. You know, if it's in the ring or the cage, then obviously that's a safe environment, and I know what the sport is, and I know what the business is. But I don't know. It's a weird thing.
Yeah, especially on the street, man. It's like you don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, they could be carrying a knife. They could be carrying anything. Glass bottle.
These days that's how it goes. But when I was sort of growing up and I started in my fight career, that was how we sort of got experience. We used to fight on the street all the time, you know. And some of the things that I think back to now were what we used to do to people.
Yeah.
And I just like, wow, you know, we could have killed any one of them, or they could have killed us. And yeah, it's just a crazy thought when you think about it, what's going on today.
Yeah, definitely, Rich. So obviously when you got into fighting, then you were doing all these disciplines. Was coaching kind of on the back of your mind as well? Were you thinking, I wouldn't mind coaching this too?
No, not at that point. I was just because I was always in the zone when I was fighting. So, but I'd always train 100%. Yeah. When I was training, I was very dedicated when I trained. So I was training twice a day.
Yeah.
But then, you know, through the career, and that's why I never really reached any major pinnacles. I was fighting, and then I'd have a few wins on the run, and then obviously I'd sort of go off partying and, just because I wasn't losing. And when you're in a small town and you're in the media and you get that opportunity where you want to, you just party, everyone knows you just get into that cycle where, you think you're the man, the king of the world,
Yeah, definitely.
And then I was off the rails and I was back on the rails, off the rails, back on the rails. So it was sort of like that sort of fight career for me.
Are you born and bred Newcastle, are you?
No, I was born in Sydney, but back in the day in the 70s, I think it was 77 to 80, I was living there. Mum and Dad owned a hotel there.
Nice.
And then, we were there for 3 years, and we took off down the Victorian border to a little Mathara, a little coastal, little country town. And then things happened with Mum and Dad's business in a hotel there from a friend, and then they ended up going bankrupt, and then we moved back to Tamworth. And then that's where I sort of got introduced to the whole fight, come Kyokushin from a few mates. So it all sort of kicked off from there, that fighting sort of. But I was, bullied. Once I got to Tamworth, I was bullied, and I was just like, I hated fighting. I just,
yeah,
that's half the time. That's why I chose to have a bit of a crack at it.
It's quite funny that, in the sense, like, people who would go into the ring or cage, like, they don't always like you said, you don't like fighting, but you did it. You know what I mean? But I bet a lot of professional athletes now, I think of the same, don't they?
Yeah. Everyone's got, especially when you see fighters, and all of them have got a different story. There's always a story to why they're doing it.
Yeah.
So it's a crazy journey, but it's a journey where it sort of got me out of the 9-to-5 job, or just cleaning toilets and all that sort of shit that I used to do when I was younger in a hospital, and give me a sort of a lifeline to go and coach and learn and just get that experience of being a coach.
Well, you've had the opportunity to go to the US too, didn't you, with Jackson Wing Gym? So I spent about 6 or 7 years traveling back and forward to there, because one of my good friends, Kyle Noak, he was living over there, and when I contacted him, or we touched base with each other, and then I sort of saw that as an opportunity to go and learn what all this MMA striking and all this sort of stuff was, and I just sort of really adapted to become one of the family over at Jackson's, and knew the coaches, Greg and Coach Wink and that, but I'd stay with Kyle, or would stay out at Cowboys Ranch when he was living out there as well, and then I was just really. I wasn't anything special. I was just there to learn, and I just got around, what MMA striking was, and I sort of adapted my style to it, from the Kyokushin, the Muay Thai, the boxing, and just made my own sort of style. But then I come back to Oz, and then I was working with a few of the dudes. I got to work with Ross Pearson and Jake Matthews, and Richie Walsh, and a few of the boys that were back here. So Tai Tuivasa and just recently Mark Hunt. Even though I've known Mark for a lot of years, but I got to work with him from a boxing point of view. So, just been over there, and Cowboy, Michelle Waterson, Holly Holm, Bones Jones, like that was when they were all back there. And there was, when I first started going, there's Frank Mir, Overeem, and then you had Travis Brown. So all those crew were just, I'd walk in and I'd be like, wow, these are the guys I watch, these are the dudes that the men at the moment. And then just started being friends and training with them and holding pads for them, and just had some good experiences over the time. What's it like holding pads for someone like Overeem?
He's probably one of the hardest to hold pads for. When he kicks those pads, and he missed the pad once and hit me on the neck and give me the old chicken legs.
Did he?
Yeah, hit me right on the side of the neck because my pads weren't up high enough. But and he kicks real weird, and but if you're not catching him, and that's probably the thing over Jackson's, and just my style is just learned over the years to roll with pad work and just know where to be, and in that way.
So did you coach Kyle before you went through Jackson, or train, like do a bit of striking with Kyle?
No. I knew of him.
Yeah.
And I wasn't in the MMA scene back then when Kyle was fighting.
Yeah.
I was more in the Muay Thai scene.
Yeah.
But I don't know, there's something when I messaged him once, it was on Messenger or Facebook back then. And he was like, "Hey, Rich," and I was like, "Hey, man, I'm be keen to come over." And he was sort of like, "Well, come over, stay with me." And as soon as that door of opportunity opened, I was off. And I think over the time from 2008 to present, I think I've done something like 48 trips to America. Jesus. You know, whether it's been to Albuquerque, Vegas, LA, you know, been sort of traveled around with some of the best guys, Chicago and all the rest of them, with Clay Guida and Izzy and the boys over there too. So that's a good part about the martial arts. Once you get to meet and train with these crew, you sort of become a lifelong friend, you know. So wherever you travel in the world, you always got those contacts. You know, they know you personally, they know what your character's like. And if you've got a good character and a good martial arts spirit, then you'll always find those friends wherever you travel.
You just got to go on that, like I said at the start, look at your Instagram, and people who haven't looked, go on Rich Fogarty's Instagram. I'll put your name at the bottom here. But like, you've been around like the elite of the elite, everyone, haven't you? Like John Wayne Parr as well, the Muay Thai.
Yeah, I'm good friends with John. Yeah, he's I've travelled to the US a few times with him, and because he loves the UFC sort of MMA fighting, so we were travelling together for a couple of those Ronda Rousey's fights, and but yeah, I've known Wayne sort of for a lot of years, and stayed at his place on weekends sometimes, and just trained at his gym on the weekends. And that's when I was living at the Sunshine Coast. I'd just drive down the Gold Coast for the weekend. But yeah, I know he's just a real dude, and we've always just got along with each other very well.
And just an absolute legend of the fight game as well, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, he's one of the greats to ever do it in the Muay Thai scene, man. He's even boxing, you know, like boxing, he's Australian champ, and you know, he's beat some of the great sort of boxers too in Australia. So man, that dude, when it comes to combat sport, he's just one of the legends.
Who did he beat the other day in a boxing match in Australia?
Would have been back a little while ago. Anthony Mundine.
Oh, Mundine, that's what it was. Yeah.
So which I had a good feeling he was going to do it. Obviously, Mundine at that stage, but how Wayne boxes, comes forward and just he punches in volumes, you know.
Yeah.
And there's not many people that can sort of stand there and take the punches in volumes.
No. Was Mundine talking shit before anything?
No, it was more, I think it was pretty respectful. I think Mundine was trying to finish on a win, and thought, you know, I'll just take on Wayne Parr. And, you know, that'll give me win and I'll retire. But, you know, Wayne Parr, as determined as he is, he wasn't letting that happen. So.
And a most recent, Rich, you cornered, well, you trained Mark for his boxing match, didn't you? Mark Hunt?
Yeah. He sort of, he got the offer to box against Paul Gallen, who's like a footballer turned boxer over here. And he got some, it was one of the biggest boxing shows in Australian history. But just to work, you know, because the COVID hit when we're in the camp. So we lived together basically from, you know, morning and night, trained, and we'd done that for 10 months before the actual fight. So we were training all the time and hanging out all the time. So he come up to Newcastle and basically lived in Newcastle with us. And yeah, he's one who I class as one of my closest friends these days, because one, we went through that experience for 10 months and sort of done a lot of boxing with him, but we've known each other for a lot of years prior to that. And to me, when people say, oh, you know, who's one of the all-time greats, to me, all-time great doesn't have to have all the belts, you know, just to say, oh, he's an all-time great. The all-time greats to me who are prepared to turn up every single time and fight.
Yeah.
No matter who they're taking on, they're fighters, they're gladiators, you know. That's when I class Mark as one of the all-time greats.
Definitely. Again, he's one of them guys, like, you won't even really have to know much about MMA or boxing, but if someone said, you know, Mark Hunt, someone said, oh, I've heard of Mark Hunt, you know, and they don't even have to know. It's I've actually read his autobiography. Have you read his book?
Yeah.
Fucking brilliant book. One of the best autos I've read, you know, and I didn't realize how much of a a tough upbringing he had, in Auckland.
Oh, bro, one of the toughest upbringings of all times, that dude. But yeah, he's just crazy. Just that determination, but all that sort of, again, it gets back to the fighter story where, what he went through as a young person. Instead of going down the wrong way and ended up in jail because of fighting or whatever, he's decided to make a living out of it.
Yeah. And he's doing well too. Well, he's done really well. Is he going to box again, Rich? Or you don't know?
No, I think he's in training to get fit and to keep training. But I don't know, man. You get to 48 years of age, and there's the drive. The only time the drive's there is if the coin's there. So
yeah. 48 is he? I thought he was low 40.
He's 40. I'm just going to go back out. He's 47.
Yeah, right.
But I think he's 48 this year again in June. So he's he's one of those type of dudes who just absolutely crazy when it comes to one of the best fighters. I'm just turning my barbecue off here, bros.
Rich is, if people are just listening, Rich is by the barbie now. Typical Aussie.
Yeah. You've caught me when I just cooked me barbie. So I'll just once I get that all off, we'll be all in business.
What do you got on there? A couple of kangaroos or
a couple of wallabies and the old steak, mate. Steak, mushroom, and a little bit of that zucchini.
Oh, beautiful, mate. It's
because we've got the big State of Origin over here tonight. So
is that tonight? Is it?
Yeah, they're playing that on tonight. So I thought, forgetting all about our meeting, I was like, I'll have a barbie and sit back and watch this game. I don't think it starts till 8 o'clock or something. So
yeah, no, sorry, I won't keep you all night, Rich. But
no. So it doesn't. I don't think it starts till like 8 o'clock.
Oh, is it?
So
yeah,
there's always a late game.
Yeah, all right. No, keep it on the topic of boxing as well. What's your thoughts of the old prize fighting, Logan Paul and Tyron Woodley and the Askren and stuff?
Oh, man, at the end of the day, if there's an opportunity because all these other boxers who probably weren't getting paid that much from the UFC, like Anderson Silva, or you have a look at back what these guys were earning over 20 fights, and it was like $8 or $9 million. When you think about what these guys, the Mayweathers and that, they've had 50 fights. Even by the time that they've had 20 fights, they would have earned excess of $500 million, $600 million. Crazy. It's just it's crazy money. But then you got these YouTubers who, don't get me wrong, they're not just YouTubers. They've got massive followings.
Yeah.
But they put the work in. They go and train with elite coaches and fighters. They're not there just being mugs. They're having a crack, And even though, there's the Mayweather and Logan, I mean, he's probably just coasted along, and that was an easy 100 million for him. And Logan Paul took away with, all of his fans would have got subscriptions. And if anyone's making money, it doesn't worry me one bit. Yeah. I'm more like, man, hats off to whoever's in this fight game. And if you can go hell for leather for a couple of years in some sort of fad or whatever's happening at the moment, because no one wants to pay to see real fighters fight.
Yeah,
it's crazy. But you get a footballer and a YouTuber in it, and people pay by the thousands.
It's like the
I don't know what it is. It's just like a whole new era at the moment. But when you got Tyron Woodley going to fight, and he'll earn more money than he's probably earning in UFC altogether.
Yeah,
those sort of things, and then you get on different stages. You get on the YouTube stages of followers and all the rest of it. So it's, man, hats off to anyone who's making big coin in this game.
Definitely. I saw the other day, actually, it was like was it like a YouTubers v TikTokers boxing event? Do you see that in Miami?
Yeah, that was that. I think that was Mayweather and the and the Logan. Yeah, Mayweather and Logan Paul.
Oh, so all the undercard was like YouTubers v TikTokers, something like that.
Yeah. Like Mayweather was taking on Logan Paul. That was just, that was a neat 100 million, I think, for Mayweather he would have made. So
I thought that was a separate event because I saw Paige Van Zandt was like a color commentator, whatever you call him, and it was like
there might have been it might have been something like because that Paige Van Zandt, I think she's in like the bare knuckle boxing or something, bare fighting championships or something.
Yeah, right.
Bare knuckle fighting or something like that. Anyway, but she's never been that good of a fighter, to be honest. But if she's out there flashing the old titties and making some coin, then so be it.
So be it. Have you coached any bare knuckle fighters, Rich?
Nah, no, not really. I mean, I see a good friend of mine who's going around the scene at the moment because he finished up with UFC, Diego Sanchez, and he's
gone bare knuckle, is he?
Well, he was at the bare knuckle fights today, so he was like they invited him there, and I think they might try and do a deal where they can get him to fight, but I hope he doesn't, especially bare knuckle, man. He won't last long in that, I don't think, as much as I love the dude. And I just think his time's done,
Yeah. Like you say,
as he said, I think in one statement, he's finished hurting people and he needs to heal. And that's probably the best way to put it, I think, for him.
Yeah. He's like one of the OGs, isn't he? Of UFC.
Yeah. And it's sad how the UFC sort of let it all go and he doesn't really get that chance to finish his career off, and he's been one of the greats, season one Ultimate Fighter winner, and you don't even really get to go out on your sword or anything, so
no,
that's a bit disappointing. But that's the UFC, they just dictate whatever they want, and if they don't like you, then you're gone
straight there. The UFC done a lot of big cuts not so long ago, really, didn't they, with Overeem?
Overeem and DeSantos, I think.
Yeah, DeSantos.
Yeah, they give a few cuts there, and they're just keeping the ones who are just obviously selling pay-per-views,
But as for the Aussie scene of UFC, and MMA, it's fucking booming in Australia, isn't it? Jimmy Crute as well.
Yeah, Jimmy Crute, he's down here. He's got Sam Greco in his corner. Sam Greco is one of the all-time greats of kickboxing and K1,
Yeah.
Yeah, but I really see Jimmy Crute. He's one of the young fellows, and I see a lot of great potential. He's probably the only one in the light heavyweights or that I've seen actually like really sit on his punches. When he throws that right, he's sitting down on that punch.
Yeah.
Last fight he was sort of against Smith. Obviously his leg played up, but he wasn't sort of. Smith was hitting with a lot of jabs, straight jabs, and he wasn't doing a lot of head movement. But then that injury happened to his leg. So I can't wait to see him get back in there and have a crack. He's one of the up and coming stars, I think.
He's a fucking big guy too. That's when I first met you in UFC 234 Adesanya Silva, isn't it? And we went out for a couple of beers after, and Jimmy, a few of the boys are there, and Jimmy Crute is there. And I'm 6'1". I'm 6'1", and they're like, fucking Jimmy Crute's a big guy, and he's broad as well,
Yeah. No, he's got that. He's just got that sit on power. That's what I like about him. He's just got, I don't know how to describe that body he's got. It's just like there's a lot of thud in that body when it hits you, I think.
Yeah. And he's a thick old set. Like he's I remember watching John Martin, isn't it? Kyle's mate.
Yeah.
The Welsh Colonel champ. And who was it? Yeah, Jimmy Crute was in the corner, wasn't he? Of Kit Campbell.
Yeah, that's what it was, yeah.
And even there, like he looked fucking big on camera, when he's not cutting weight, Jimmy Crute, he'd be like, I don't know how heavy he'd be, but he's
definitely a big unit, that's for sure.
He's a big dude, like, so.
Yeah.
That's another thing I wanted to ask you, Rich. How have you been? That's another thing I wanted to ask you. How have you been around like Mike Tyson so much as well?
I think that sort of we become friends with him and his wife, my brother and I, through Jeff Fennick. Like Jeff Fennick back in the day when we used to travel because Jeff trained obviously Mike and was great friends with Mike. And then every time Jeff was going over to Vegas, and he'd be, he'd give us a message going, "Hey, I'm going over to see Mike. You just want to come over?" And then it would go, 100%. Because obviously Mike Tyson back in the day, I used to watch him and just, I read everything, watched everything. I just, I could pretty much say anything about Mike Tyson that happened. And then, just having the opportunity of just, getting in the same room and just listening to the stories and just, getting to know him personally, it was just like, wow, man, this is like one of the OGs of boxing, this dude. And so in reality, the ones that I really idolised was Muhammad Ali. Yeah. So I got to have lunch with Muhammad Ali back in 2008 at his house, and then Mike Tyson, when we started to befriend him, we'd travel over there and just hang out either at his house or just meet for dinner somewhere with Jeff and that. And those two, man, like when you say, what's your greatest highlights of meeting other great athletes besides sort of like the Diegos and John Jones and all that, like Muhammad Ali was the biggest thing. I was just like, wow, I was in awe, even though he was at that time where he had Parkinson's, but just being in the same room as him, it was just like, man, you knew you're in the room with greatness. It was a real weird feeling, but his wife Lonnie and all the family made us so welcome, and it was just crazy. Lennox Lewis come in for lunch; he was there with us. Oh, yeah. So it was just there, one of those sort of tingling feeling moments.
Yeah,
and that's what I'll remember that for the rest of my life. That day.
That's like amazing. Like not many people in the world could have said they've done that. You know what I mean? Like had food with Muhammad Ali.
Nah, that's
in his home, you said, as well, in Kentucky.
Yeah, 100%. And that was just, yeah, man, like that. And I think sometimes I'm just like, man, not many people in this world get the opportunity of not just say meeting Mike or Muhammad Ali, but just sitting at their house with them. Like that's just turns of events you never think. Wow, even growing up watching these guys on TV, you think, now I'm in their lounge room, I'm sitting there talking to them. It's just crazy.
Do you go to like Mike Tyson's like mansion in Vegas? Do you have like a mansion or something?
No, he's about 20 or 30 minutes out of Vegas.
Oh yeah.
He's in one of these estates. So when you go there, we got to email his wife Kiki, and then she puts our name at the gate, so we're allowed in when we drive up.
Yeah. Right.
But he's one of the good dudes I like. You don't know with Mike whether you're going to get a happy Mike or a mad Mike or whatever, but I mean, you're prepared to take that chance when you're hanging out with someone great.
Yeah, he seems like, you watch his interviews or podcasts, and like you said, it's if he's in like his happy mood, but if he doesn't want to talk, you can tell he doesn't want to talk, does he? He's just like,
yeah. There's a lot of deep emotion there all the time still. Like I know every time he talks about Cus D'Amato, he gets very emotional.
Yeah,
because I think that's a part that when Cus died, a part of him died, and then everything went downhill from after that, basically. But he gets really, I don't know. Now he's got that marijuana wellness place and the ranch, Tyson's Ranch, and that. But I think that calms him more than anything. But every time I see him talking about something which I know that he's emotional about, you can see the sort of in his throat, he's doing the old swallowing or tears, and
yeah.
So there's a lot of deep anger, scared child still in that body of his.
Have you ever held mitts for him, Rich?
What's that?
Ever held some pads for him?
No. I think my brother did, Rob, because I wasn't there. I wasn't there on a trip when Jeff and Rob went to his place, and Rob held some pads for him, just mucking around. I think it was.
Yeah.
I think I remember the footage of that, but no. Geez, I'll tell you, some of even now at 55 or something, what he does, and seen him hitting those pads. I mean, he probably, the way social media is, it looks like he's still in great nick, and he is in good nick. But he probably goes for about 2 minutes flat out when he has a breather.
Well, when he had his the exhibition with Roy Jones, isn't it? And those clips kept coming out. And
yeah, man, like he's still had it. And once he got in there, he was still hitting. Moving side to side, he's still switching stances, he's still switching angles, and he's still whacking hard.
Yeah, I don't think.
Well,
you wouldn't lose it, would you?
Hey,
you wouldn't lose it, really, would you? If you could do it like
no, you never. I don't think you ever lose it. You might get, your timing that might be, exactly on, but he's, he dedicated his life. He done it day in, day out. It ought to be all programmed in his head, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's just like a switch. Is he going to fight? He's meant to fight. Is he fighting Holyfield? Has that been announced?
I think they were trying to do that, or Lennox Lewis or something. They're going to have a Triller fight or something again.
Yeah, right.
I don't know whether it'll come off or not. I don't know, but it'll definitely be. It'll be definitely fun to watch.
No, I'm quite enjoying it all. You know, like Anderson Silva fighting as well last weekend, is it? In the boxing, he looked good. It's something different. You know what I mean? It's like you said, it's one of them things that you said is well, I don't want to call it a freak show because it's not, but it's just different, isn't it? You know?
Yeah.
It's like,
it's different. Everyone used to call it a freak show, but then everyone realised that fuck, there's $100 million up for grabs.
Yeah.
Hang on a second, this ain't a freak show. This is business.
Business, yeah.
So, but that's, as Mike said, that these days, that's what these guys are. They're businessmen. Back in his days, they were killers. You know, they will fight for the belts, but they'll just fight to kill you.
Yeah, good point. Actually,
there's a big difference. You know,
definitely. What's on the horizon for Rich Fogarty? Have you got any fight? What's the crack in Australia now with COVID? It's a bit like that, isn't it? Up and down.
Yeah, it's up and down, up and down. Yeah. We were locked down in Victoria going back 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Now all the restrictions are lifted. Now Sydney's down in lockdown.
Shit, are they?
Newcastle's going into lockdown. So, man, it just never ends.
Yeah.
Once there's one case that breaks out, then the government just goes, righto, close the whole state, and just everyone's like, whoa, what's going on? But no, the future, mate, I'm sort of quite content to carry on. Obviously, with the new gym is going to be the big highlight, Brooklyn Fitness Centre.
Yeah.
But also the Brooklyn Boxing Club. We've got some, we're going to have some good things happening at the gym, and I don't know. I'm more happy, especially down here on the west side. I'm just happy to look for some rough diamonds, to come in the gym. And we've got our foundation, the Ringside Youth Foundation, that we've attached to the gym.
Nice.
So when we raise some money and that goes into there, then if we get some kids and their parents can't afford to train, but we know over the years we've trained, off the street kids, and we want them to keep on the straight and narrow, then that money from the Ringside Youth will pay, obviously, the gym for their memberships or whatever it may be.
Oh, brilliant. That is, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm really, I don't know, I'm just getting towards I'm going back the opposite way now, where I used to be just to train top sort of level athletes, and I didn't have much time for the younger kids, so to speak. And then now it's reversing, where I want to put some more time back into the kids, and I don't know, it might be just age, getting old, bro. I won't mind just hovering around the gym and just looking and paying attention and observing some of the young ones. But hopefully we're going to get an amateur coach come in, and they can sort of take the classes for amateur coach, if doing it our style.
Yeah.
And then we're just in there coaching at the same time, but just overlooking everything.
I was going to ask you, was it just for now you and Rob? Is it the coaches?
Yeah. Everywhere we go, business wise, it's always been just me and Rob, because we've had business partners before, and they always seem to screw you over in some way. But with Rob and I, we've had our bond, ever since we were kids. So nothing gets in the middle of that. We're up front with each other. We look after each other, making sure we're on. There's, I'm very blessed. There's not many family members or brothers out there that have got close bonds with their brothers. But my brother and I, man, I don't know whether it's instilled in us from mum when she was alive and growing up, but yeah, nothing really gets in amongst or me and Rob. We do business together, we do life together. So that's we're pretty much, we know we've got each other's back, full stop.
Like you say, you've moved from Newcastle to Melbourne as well,
Yeah. Well, we went from Sunshine Coast to then Newcastle, and then Newcastle to Melbourne.
Yeah.
We were in Tamworth, and then we moved to Kingaroy. Then we went Kingaroy to Sunshine Coast. So everywhere we've gone and we moved, the whole families have moved together.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where we could. I don't think we'd we couldn't do life without each other. That's the thing. It's weird to say, but that's just how close we are. We're just, we don't do anything without each other.
And for like the British listeners, when Rich is saying he's moving, it's not like 2 hours down the road. It's a hour or two flight away. Do you know what I mean? It's Australia's a big place.
Interstate, 10-hour drive, and moving interstate, and but it's nothing really to us, because at the end of the day, it's a life journey, and where I end up in the end, I don't know. Melbourne, obviously, I'll end up here, but you never know. Once you get older and older and older, I might go back to it. My daughter's still in Newcastle. My son's with me. He might find someone down here and stay down here. I might stay down here. Every day is a challenge. Every day is a different thing for me.
Or you'll do a Melbourne winter and you'll be like, nah, I'm going back up north.
Yeah, Melbourne winters. I don't mind the Melbourne winter. It's cold. It's cold, but I don't mind cold. I love rugging up, and I don't like training in the cold, but once you get into the gym and you start running the machine, start doing a bit of weight, you start sort of heating up pretty fast. Yeah. I think because it's a factory shed, I think the summer's where it's going to be the hot part of it, but I think we'll have, hopefully by then, a big air conditioning duct system going all the way through it. Yeah. Well, you'll need it. So that'll cater for the air conditioning. So brilliant. And this is the final destination at the moment. We'll just see, try and get because realistically in business, 24-hour gyms, that's where the money is, in the weights. The weights, are they? Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to be there 24 hours a day either. You do the weight, just set it all up, and everyone comes in and trains themselves, and then off they go. Which is that's the turnover, the money, and the boxing is just the add-on to that. Yeah, I think most gyms, especially when I was in Melbourne, would just have a fob in it, 24 hours. Yeah. Go in when you want. If you want to go in on a bloody 11 o'clock on a Saturday night, you can just go and do some weights or go on the treadmill. 100%. But that's how it is. That's how it is with the 24 hours these days. Yeah, awesome. Well, I'll leave you go, Rich, because I know you've got your barbie cooking. You'll have the rugby league on soon. But appreciate you coming on, sharing a bit of your story with us. And no worries, bro. Anytime. Before you go, though, obviously, what's your Instagram name? I'll put it at the bottom as well. But is it at Rich Fogarty, is it? Yeah, Rich Fogarty MMA. That's my Instagram, sort of Rich Fogarty MMA. Rich Fogarty MMA. And check out Rich's boxing club as well. But that's in your bio, isn't it? All the names. Yeah, all the Brooklyn Fitness Centre, Brooklyn Boxing Club. So yeah, it's brilliant. So my Melbourne friends listening, get down there. It looks really good. It's like, do you know the word packer? I keep saying the word packer. Do you know what packer means? Is that a British thing? Nah. Packer. Packer means it's really good. It's packer job. Smick. Yeah, it's a smick. It looks really good. It's got all the state of the art equipment for lifting and stuff, weights and well, we made sure that all life fitness gear and hammer strength. So yeah, brilliant. Yeah, we went all out. Also, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to me as well, the CD Sport Podcast on YouTube and Instagram. So spread the word on that one. Spread the love. Thank you, Rich. 100%, bro. No worries, brother. Great talking. Rich Fogarty, everybody. You. Yeah.